The original work of Su Qing's autobiographical novel 10 Years of Marriage Chapter 23, the invader of Love Xian no longer officially works as a lawyer. You have to deal with some Fei-song incidents and comb drop sharp-lie people who come and go like to ask this question. What are your plans now? His answer was that he was unemployed, prepared to starve to death. After saying that, of course people don't believe. I also wanted to confirm people's disbelief. Having to dig deep into one's pockets means that one's family is still wealthy, just barely. Ordered food and wine. Pretend to be happy and drink with others. When you're drunk, you can't help but look depressed. Maybe people have already dismantled the diary. You making people laugh? I hate the heartlessness of such people the most. But sometimes I forgive them because they themselves are also suffering from depression and boredom. Yubai is one of them. His mind is quick. He used to write articles every day in exchange for money. Have to put my pen down. Now it's a book that has been published. He doesn't want to print anymore. Well, sold out. Most of his friends are artists, and the life Japan usually enjoys being sensual and sensual. Now we are chasing each other even more day and night. Luoyang had several quarrels with him. He threw the teacup at I, also kicked him with his feet and injured him. Luoyang cried bitterly and went back to her mother's house. Keep saying you want to divorce. Seubai sneered and said that divorce is the best thing. There is not enough money at home. I'll have to save one person to eat him. Just afraid you'll get divorced. Chetty can't find a second husband from now on. Luoyang said she just doesn't have a husband. It is also as prosperous as worrying about rice and frowning every day. He also eats people and beats them. Then he came to my house and told me about Tong Xiangxianing. Ish teased for a while that a wife like you, are you afraid that no one will want it? Beautiful and virtuous immediately blushed upon hearing this. It seems as if 10 years of age have been reduced. Then I thought of that day when he was rowing a boat in the river outside the city. The sight of meeting you by his face is round eyes dark. Looks bright and shining, but in a flash this brilliance is lost. No man being able to calmly appreciate the beauty of my wife. They always think that the time ahead will be very long. Just take your time. Little did they know that after 3 to 5 years of rest, they would have a boy and a girl. When he looks at him again with lustful eyes, has become ordinary and verbose. A woman who looked like a ball of dead flesh in my armchair will hate him, then he hate him and think he is a burden, as if not abusing him as if it wasn't enough to vent his anger at being detained. If he could bear it with tears in his eyes, maybe we can mourn until we grow old together like a pair of old partners until the final letting go, but he can't. His memories are too vivid. He only remembers the moment when he started falling in love. It was a dream. He treats dreams as real. As a result, I felt deceived. In fact, it was himself who deceived him, not him either. Man's family is busy. Ho has such a memory. Remember what I said in my dreams 8 or 10 years ago. Forever obsessed with dreams. Never opened my eyes for the rest of my life. Come and take a look at this world of luxury and luxury. This world belongs to men. Only men can enjoy love. Love is to bring about intercourse, a meaning that can also be fun. After a man reaches middle age, gradually I came to understand he think he is too troublesome and time-consuming. Pay attention to enjoyment. To have to use something else to replace him. This thing is money. Money is in the hands of men. Will can prohibit them from doing so in large numbers at the same time, or buy love piecemeal one by one. At this time, women should also wake up from their dreams. Sooner or later anyway, gotta wake up. Beauty of flowers lasts only a moment. Butterflies greed lasts only a moment. Spring is coming. You have to go back in a hurry, in a blink of an eye. The scorching sun is in the sky. Anxious, you're thin enough, so you have to spend the lonely autumn. To shortendous wait until the severe winter comes to end your life. There is no eternal spring in the world. There is no long-lasting dream. When the dream is about to wake up, people want to come here to praise you for being virtuous and beautiful. That's like hypnosis, sudden increase in embarrassment in the end. It's not just a matter of time. There is a slightly sour taste in my heart, but I think that's despicable. So I restrained myself. Every night as Aprachingchen runs outside every day. I asked him why he came back so late. For what exactly? He then straightened his face and shouted that he was looking for food. I don't run around. Will gave you 100 meters to stuff your stomach. I just cry after hearing this. Rice stored at home is getting less and less day by day. People don't know. He thought you never had to worry about what to eat. Xian didn't seem to pay much attention either, and I'm afraid to mention it. Whenever I talk about it, by chance we not take a break and mall by myself. It also saves one person's food and expenses. He always gets angry. Veins on my forehead swelled, clenched fists and rushed forward. Yelled at me, "What are you farting on? Lingling, will you be the agent? Look at your protruding belly. You can't even lift my feet to walk. Lingling is in trouble. What do you give to compensate? I'll pay for it with your dog's life. It's not enough to be single-minded." So strange, sick words, but it comes from the mouth of a scholar who didn't drink at night. Peanuts are going. A bag of barbecued pork cost the maid to buy it and eat it. When I was happy in the middle, I even shouted for food. The maid is greedier. If you walk slower, you have to eat. He scolded Wang Ma and couldn't bear the anger. Just want to resign, advised by Mei, saying nice things in vain. This is what I can barely do. Just a cold face. The whole house is so spooky. Mother Chen is clumsy. She is so virtuous that she treats her well and drinks wine. Leftover side dish Heston tell Ma Chen to take it to eat. Go to bed early after eating. He can take Lingling to Nongku to play tomorrow. Wang Ma muttered in the kitchen angrily. Doesn't care about the mirror either. Went upstairs and fell asleep. What's hateful is when the wine collector comes tomorrow morning. He walked upstairs. He said to him that the hotel below is collecting money. He sneered with a stern face. What does it have to do with collecting money? The hotel owner is not your concubine asking you to work so hard to beg money for him. As he said this, he picked up a tune book and read it by himself in the mouth. The bow, ruler, bow, ruler, bow, ruler. I have no choice. I can only shed tears of Lavoisier few savings to advance payment. Sometimes he gets happy. He is also often willing to return the money I have advanced to me. Also send more letters. He said, I'm buying you some fruit to eat. But most of the time when asking him for money, what will happen if you always say you just give me a cushion? Are you afraid that I will give you less money? I said it's not because I'm afraid of you. I can't help it. It'll no money. He sneered through his nostrils and said, then I don't have you either. No need to drink without you. If you don't drink, you won't die of thirst. He knocked over the table with a bang. Wo says, you won't die of thirst. You don't give me wine, I'll go outside and drink. Saying that, he put on his coat and mirror and went out with an angry look. From then on, he didn't often eat at home. We spent the new year lonely. Sometimes I also want to win over him in the third day of junior high school when he will go out in the morning. He is still happy. Then I made an appointment with him. He have to go home for dinner tonight. I'll personally take care of him cooking some delicious side dish. Shesh smiled and asked if he would prepare wine for me. I look at his face. He also said with a smile, drink less. Drinking too much will harm your body. Ever iron dispersed in harmony. He goes to find Francine. Going to buy side dishes with Wang Mai. Washed and cut it in the first half of the day. Been busy for a while. Burning round in the second half of the day. Look, it's time to turn on the light. Hasn't come back yet. He feel a little panicked. No, it's unreally. A Blenlin is hungry. Want to eat it. First give some of each pot of vegetables to him. I thought I'd eat some too, but I always feel like he's coming back. We not wait for him for another 5 minutes. This has been postponed to 9:30 again and again. Winter nights are weird and gloomy again, and eating makes it even more bitterly cold. I'm just waiting for the maid. He couldn't help but doze off. The flame of the briquettes will only dim in turn. Yalawi feel like all hope is weak. It's over and she may never come back. But he came back after a lad about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He was humming a song, 5 popular jazz music. She heard the chiseler's anger when he came in. He pulled his head apart and kissed her Lingling for head. A burst of alcohol came over me. I couldn't help but sit up and asked if you drank outside. He said you clearly knew. You asked me what I was doing. He couldn't help complaining that he was so miraculous. He had a good talk with you this morning. I asked you to come home for dinner. He even went to buy side dishes for you. Myself and for most of the day Ho knew you were pouring yellow soup outside. Hapice took off his clothes. As soon as I jumped into bed, I fell asleep inside. You're still talking vaguely. You don't want to do anything, do you? Even if I drink yellow soup, buy the side dishes and eat them yourself. I'm not lucky enough to enjoy it. Me heart felt cold, still holding on to the last glimmer of hope. I asked him that was money. Does this money for buying side dishes belong to? He was almost asleep. Heard this, but he turned back to me and said, who wants to buy side dishes? Who pays anyway? I've never eaten one piece. Seemed so angry till dawn. He got up early the next morning, rushed into the kitchen, throw all the side dishes in the trash can. Even if Wang Ma wanted to stop her, it would be too late. He knew that Xian must have been offended by me. Then he helped me to sit in class. He brought a cup of tea. Sabajas Kruwang Ma said, why bother? The young master has been so out of his element lately. But grandma'll have to take care to sooner or later. I'm going to give birth. Do you deserve this kind of disdain? I cried and said that this man just can't make money for a while. You shouldn't treat your wife like this. Wang Ma didn't wait for me to finish. Then he uttered a sharp remark and said, look at the young master. It's not about money. People like him where is the hard way to think of something. Grandma, don't be angry. Let me tell you something honestly. I also heard it from the maid at Mrs. Mu's house next door. Mrs. Mu once met our young master at Dahu Factory No. 5. He is with the same girlfriend, talking warmly and into Madela not to prevent Mrs. Mu from seeing it. He heard this girlfriend, or did you come here often in the past? Don't know who he is either. Sage, she was born very beautifully. Almost fainted listening to it slow solemnly. I held my heart and helped me up the stairs step by step. Lingling woke up as soon as she opened her eyes when he saw me. He shouted to get up. He said, Lingling, just sleep a little longer. The weather is very cold, conspicuous in darkness. Murmured, why don't you sleep a little longer? Nothing happens when you wake up so early. After saying Fish closed his eyes and fell asleep again. He looked at his face, feel like something big is going to happen, some attachment. There is also some fear. Didn't get up until after 11 o'clock that day when I asked him if he wanted to have some snacks. He said there was no need to eat the snacks. Decided not to go out today. I'll watch a movie with you in the afternoon. There is quite a falling sound in my heart. I'm afraid he will ask about the side dishes prepared last night. Sure enough, he told me during lunch. There happened to be something I couldn't come back from last night. Tired. You have worked in vain. I'll pay you back the money you spend on the food. Now let's ask Ma Wang to heat up the food and serve the bar. He couldn't help but feel ashamed after hearing this. He wish I could post some money right away to purchase side dishes. But there's no time. When the time came, I could only look at him lie at this dish later. Ling Ling and I ate it ourselves. You don't have to pay me back. This is no food to drink with. You think the restaurant is also open today? Let's ask Ma Wang to go outside and order a few things. He seemed a little disappointed after hearing this, but there is nothing else to say. That being the case, there is no need to call you. Give Wang Ma to Yuan. Ask him to buy the packs of hot rice with soup to drink at the bar. After hearing this, I reached out my hand, take the money from the coat bag he had hanging on the hanger last night. Unexpectedly, his color suddenly changed. Got up in a panic and held my hand and said, "What are you doing? 2 yuan is just a temporary cushion. It doesn't matter. Why do you mess with other people's belts?" I have no fun in front of Wang Ma. It's just tinkering. It's no big deal to look through your belt. What do you mean I advance money again and again? I don't have that much money to advance. Yesterday, I spent more than 30 yuan on side dishes. He didn't wait for me to finish. Then he interrupted me impatiently. The side dishes last night are none of my business. He have never eaten a piece of it. Mother Wang shouldn't say anything about this matter. Oh, it's true, master. What did you say? I didn't come to dinner last night. Grandma was so angry that she threw away all the side dishes this morning. It's a pity that even Ling Ling didn't eat these pieces. Xian couldn't help but open his eyes. Shouted fiercely. It turns out that you threw away all the side dishes. I'm not willing to show weakness. And he deliberately pretended to laugh casually and said, "So what if I dumped it? I took out the money myself. It's up to me whether I pour it out or not. When you say it's cold, you might as well hit him with one strike." From Xian, I instinctively turned my head. A slap on the back of the neck. Ling Ling was so frightened that she started crying. Mother Wang was also stunned. My trembling lips don't know what to say. I couldn't care less about my big belly right now. He ran into his arms and said, "You will hit Yao." At the same time, he said the most sarcastic words I know men hate it the most. He said he can't make money. I scolded him for not making money. He also asked his wife to borrow money for wine. The side dishes were so shameless. He said, "Where did your money come from? It was not mailed from my place." "Who mailed you?" "I got the royalties from my own articles." "Humph. Then you should live on royalties from now on. Don't ask me for it again." "I won't ask you. There is no such cheap thing in the world. I have to settle accounts with you. Please give me back the money for yesterday's dishes immediately." So he refused. I had to reach out to touch his coat pocket. He seemed to have done something wrong. He was panicked and came to drag me. Everyone twisted in a bowl. Wang Ma couldn't help but tremble and shouted, "Oh, Master and Grandma, for Ling Ling's sake. Grandma, please step back. Be careful of your stomach." Xian Dao also looked at my stomach and looked at Ling Ling again. He actually grabbed the coat and went out. So I cried for a while and slept for a while. The rice is not sticky. Felt a stomachache in the afternoon. This time I put life and death acid. Didn't shout. He just whispered. Mother Chen took good care of Ling Ling. She lay straight on the bed as if waiting to die, but unexpectedly came back at 5 o'clock in the evening seeing me sleeping in the bed. He asked if I felt any discomfort. He couldn't help but feel sad. Me tears kept flowing. Also said kindly that I should stop making such a fuss in the future. I don't know why. I have a bad temper recently. Often quarrel with others out city. A friend invited us last night too. I was there too. He said he decided to go to the mainland recently. Felt like listening to him and felt like he had other ideas. Me tears gradually dried up. He told him that I had a stomachache today. He panicked and recounted while busy preparing things for delivery and dinner. Shi Minghua happened to come to see us, came in and stayed at his friend's house. He didn't do anything. I have half an hour to go to the mainland. I am not embarrassed to see him because he was there to help me when I raised my second daughter last time. This time, he felt obliged to find this and that for me. He also went out to call the doctor at night and waited for the doctor's car at the intersection for fear that they could not find me and I would eat something. Xian only stayed by my bed for fear that I would be timid. Everyone forgot about the fight during the day. In this page, he is still the Xian of 10 years ago. Minghua seems to be one of our brothers. I feel happy. On the 4th and 5th nights of the first lunar month of the 31st year of the Republic of China, I raised my son Yuan, a fat boy with thick bones. He weighed more than 9 pounds when he was full. His eyes were black. He didn't have time to cry when he landed. He patted the doctor twice, and then he made a sound. The sound was very loud. Xian was so happy that he patted Wang Ma and Chen Ma on the shoulders and said that you have worked hard. You should cook the noodle soup and go to bed quickly. Ling Ling had already been carried to the 3rd floor. Go to sleep. Xian saw the sugar noodles being brought. He wanted to wake her up to eat. I said that since the child was asleep, there was no need to wake her up. It would be delicious tomorrow. Xian smiled and looked at Minghua, who was equally excited, and said, I said Lingling was a blessed child. Sure enough, he got a younger brother. When his father found out, he would be so happy. I remembered that my father-in-law had written to me recently saying that he was in a very bad condition. Knowing this time should be more effective than taking 10 tonics. Maybe he will come out to see our plump grandson soon. So Xian drafted a telegram that night. Xian did not go out the next day. Minghua also stayed at my house to take care of her. The child was strong and could sleep well, so there was no need to be too busy. When they had nothing to do, they played with Lingling. Of course, Lingling ate a lot of good things. On the third day, Yubai suddenly sent me a letter saying that he would leave for the mainland today and wish me peace, and in hope that my child would live a long life. He said that he had many things that he could not tell me, but in short, he did not want to stay in Shanghai. I saw that and asked Xiandao if Yubai had gone. Was Liang going with him? He answered affirmatively but deliberately hesitantly. I am afraid not, I said. Then what will happen if Liang stays alone in Shanghai? He pondered for a long time, as if he did not want to say it, but he had to tell me that they had divorced recently. I pretended to fall asleep silently. He asked me if I was cold. I vaguely said, please take a coat or something and cover my back. He hesitated a little and pretended not to mind. He took his coat off the hanger and put it on my back. When he left the room, I secretly reached into his bag and fumbled in a piece of dandruff. I found what he did not want me to find when he held my hand in panic that day. It was Liang's photo. Her face is round. Her eyes are dark. They seemed to be gleaming at me. From then on, Xianyu went out every day. He would not come back until midnight. I stopped asking him. He also stopped explaining to me. Sometimes he seemed very excited. He wanted to tell me something, but whenever he mentioned Lion's name, I would change the subject. Only once, Falcon wrote to congratulate me on the birth of a child. I said to Xian, please thank me when you see Falcon. Regarding Yubai, I hope he is not too sad. Xian's face suddenly became long. He seemed to be indifferent. He almost scolded me and said, what does Yubai have to do with him now? I know you have intentions. At this point, he felt that he could not continue and left with Gu Shanshan. Minghua is still living in his friend's house, but he comes to my house every day to take care of Lingling for me. When Lingling saw him, she rushed over to him affectionately and called him uncle. One day I said to him sadly that I hope I can find something to do after the month of unconsciousness. I asked him if there was any way. He seemed to understand what I meant. He just said that there was nothing to do now and let him do everything. The strangest thing was that all the relatives and friends who came to visit me seemed to know something. They often pointed their eyes and looked around the room. Of course, I was not virtuous. They stopped asking and just spoke softer. They advised me to take good care of myself. This good son will be great in the future. And the servant Chen Ma, although she is the dumbest and most honest, knows to love Lingling more. She said that your mother will rely on you and your brother in the future.
Wang Ma moved her lips and wanted to talk to me several times, but I stopped her with a stern look. She was so scared that she took back her words. Letters were sent from home one after another. They were all written by my father-in-law. He said that he had arranged 8 for you and Yuan. The word is Kuizhang Risheng's extraordinary wealth. It's a pity that it's a bit too hard. It conflicts with my mother. It's best to go out and find a prostitute. I looked at Easy and smiled. It seemed as if he really believed in fate. He couldn't help but bow his head and sighed and stared at me. I said that my father-in-law might come out when the weather gets warmer during the Qingming festival. He nodded first and said that I also believe that he will definitely come out. I just don't know if his body can do it. Another kind of hope rises in my heart. Sometimes Xian often thinks about not going out more. He said to me, I'll accompany you for dinner today. But somehow, in the afternoon, he was restless again. He got up and took a book to the 3rd floor to take a nap. After a while, he came down in slippers, still holding the original book in his hand, as if he had only turned a few pages. He sat silently in front of my bed and yawned. Ninghua tried every means to rouse his interest. He seemed to feel bad and reluctantly, perfunctorily dealt with him. He opened his eyes wide and watched quietly. It was about 4 o'clock. He finally couldn't bear it anymore. He said to me kindly, go find a friend nearby and come back later. But I already knew that he would not come back before 11 o'clock in the evening after he went out this time. Later, my guess was proved to be correct. Minghua just comforted me gloomily and said, oh, men are always like this when they are unhappy. It's not his fault. If you have anything to do, just tell me. I bowed my head slightly. but didn't thank him. Finally, the full moon day came. Because people gave gifts, I asked Xian if I should treat us. Xian replied listlessly, "What do you say? But, just treat us once." He went out again without leaving any money and didn't even mention it. Minghua knew my temper and was afraid that I would be angry again tomorrow. He hesitated to treat us. He took out 500 yuan and gave it to me, saying, "Please take all these and use it for a while. When he gives it to you, return it to me. You don't need to ask him for money tomorrow." I blushed and had to take off the diamond ring. Tomorrow night when we are having dinner, Xian Shui will be late. First, someone asked if Li Ying would come today. Another person laughed deliberately and said that she might not come. I felt really sad when I heard it. I thought you must be laughing at me for being wooden and unconscious. Maybe you think I am too honest and incompetent, but I want to ask you, when a man changes his mind, no matter how smart you are as a wife, what can you do? Being fierce is useless. Being honest is useless. A woman's power can only be used on the person who loves him. If that person doesn't love him anymore, tears are useless and disgusting. A smile is also uncomfortable. It's better to be sensible as soon as possible. Try your best to hide yourself in the shadows and pretend to be silent so that he can't see or hear you. When the guests leave in the evening, Li Ying came to see me alone. I don't know when Xian slipped out pretending to see someone off. I suspect they had agreed on this. His attitude was very awkward, but he tried his best to calm himself down. He smiled and said to me, "Women with children are very happy, but it depends on how long the happiness can last. But it all depends on your own efforts. What if someone else is also trying to take away your happiness?" He couldn't help but hesitate for a long time and said, HMM, there is nothing we can do about it, because humans are all selfish. Are humans really selfish? I don't want to. From then on, I knew that Xian was unreliable, but in order to protect the happiness of my child, I had to be patient. There is no mother who changes her heart halfway through. Look, how deep the round wine leaves are, how fat the calves are. Although he only knows about water and milk now, I believe that he will definitely understand the most profound and great things in the world in the future. Lingling is petite and smart, and every move is lovable. I mean my eldest daughter Weiwei. Although I haven't seen her for several months, I know that she is quiet, smart and studying, and will be a good daughter in the future. I always ask myself, and I think that a woman can give up 10 husbands, but she can't give up half a child. They should all be mine. I want to raise them until they grow up. I want. So I dress Lingling up to be extra pretty. Yuanu An is also very clean. Spring is here. I wear a light red tweed cheongsam and a long black narrow waistcoat. Huang Ma holds Lingling for me. I put Yuanu An in the stroller and push it along. People on the roadside don't know, and they think I am a happy young mother. Little do they know that I am angry and sad in my heart. I plan every day how to get some money to buy side dishes. There are some ready-made ones, but what will happen after eating all of them is unknown. I asked Xian how much money he would spend every month. You have to give me a fixed amount. It doesn't matter if you save a little. I will distribute it according to the amount you set. But I can't just give you a certain amount when you are happy and not give you anything when you are unhappy. Xian said that I don't have a fixed income, so I can't give you a fixed amount. You can do whatever you want. I don't eat at home much anyway. I blamed him for being so unreasonable. If I were like you, I would just eat outside and not care whether there is enough money at home. What about the children and support? He said that it would be up to them. You can take care of it yourself if you have the ability. To be honest, even if you ask me for money, you should give me a good face. You start by blaming me, as if they are born to owe you. If this money is given to the 5 female guides, I don't know how they will flatter me. Of course I was very angry when I heard that, but money is the most practical thing. I had to ask him for it even if I was angry. So, I shamelessly said a lot of flattering words to him. He knew that I was not sincere and still did not give him a good face. I think, sometimes the 3,050 yuan that I begged for was still spent on him. Most of it was used to buy things for the children. I myself had nothing to enjoy except 2 meals a day. My relatives and friends were angry for me. Everyone said that I was too honest. Why didn't I negotiate with him in this way and that way? Don't allow him to do this or that. But I knew it was useless. First, he has changed his mind recently. You don't allow him to do it. So what? Second, the negotiation will not produce any results. He has no social status at present when he is frustrated. He is not afraid of losing face if he quarrels with him. Besides, things between husband and wife are never won by arguing with reason, love, and it must be against his will. People can only say some well-intentioned sarcastic words. Who is willing to really help you quarrel with your husband? As for borrowing money, let alone. So I still suffer humiliation and anger. Sometimes the weather is a little cold. I find that I can't be completely indifferent. The result of his anxiety is that he drinks hard. He often looks back at me and the children and sighs. Once he was drunk. He held my hand and said, "Jing Mai, you have to save me. I did something wrong. It's too late to regret now. You have to save me." I couldn't help but shed tears for no reason. I was a little worried about him, a little aggrieved for myself, but most of my thoughts were to share the worries of the children. So he often had dinner at home. I knew my chance had come. I pretended to be casual. He said that marriages that were first adulterated and then married were unreliable. He also said that divorced women could not truly love their husbands after remarrying because her inner heart has been frightened by the unfaithful man before. Her remarriage with Su Qing is to save face and show it to her ex-husband. Shin's mind is more active. But I know had I said is actually against my will. What does chastity have to do with women? A woman who relies on prostitution to support her children, in my opinion. Bukai is the great stone of the wise men of holiness, but Luoyang gave up her daughter after Ali. Don't know why she did it. I feel sorry for her, but in front of Shani have other purposes. Have to make it look particularly unbearably sad. If a woman has given birth to a child it's already 7 or 8 years old, and then she talks about marriage and love with another man. What kind of talk is this? Unless the man doesn't want to be disanotherwis, he will point fingers at others behind his back and talk about his history. Speaking of this, Xian's face becomes long and even her neck turns red.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.